Good afternoon, everyone. Today is my birthday, and that is my dog, and this is one of my Christmas gifts today. This is the official unboxing of my Wrye Pipeworks custom duals with kickouts for my Roadstar bagger that I'm building. So let's get to unboxing, shall we? First of all, these things are stainless and super light. When the FedEx truck came and dropped them off, I couldn't believe this was the pipes because they weigh almost nothing. Recommended items for install, some printed instructions, making sure to wipe your exhaust off with a rag before you start it the first time. They're stainless, so you know if you get any handprints, fingerprints, oil, or anything, as soon as those pipes get hot, it's going to scorch them wherever that grease is and scorch that onto the pipes. So that's good. Well packaged. Oh yeah. So this is going to be the left side of the bike. Man, that seems so small. The welds are really nice, and he sanded them down, ground them down so they're nice and smooth and flush. Got a bung in order to be able to mount it in the back, right actually where the bag bracket is going to connect. It's going to be the same spot, and a bracket here so where it's going to connect coming off of the header. Nice heat shield to go on the rear header right there by my leg, since that's the part that's going to be closest to the hot part of the pipe more often than not. He's got the band clamps welded in. Nicely done. They're so light and so small, I gotta find them in here. Here we have the, come on, so excited. We have the right side pipe, flange on there. Again, very well done. Nice welds, cleaned up really nice. Bung here again to be able to mount it on the side. Kick out is very cool. For some reason I expected it to be larger, and I'm glad it's not, but he took a larger diameter pipe, put an angle here, and it reduces down to the size of the rest of the pipe. Very clean, very understated, very well done. And oh, that came out really clean. So this is the head pipe for the rear cylinder. So it comes out, does a nice little snail shell around. It's got a mounting bung here. Mounting brackets. I'm gonna come closer, make sure I didn't miss anything because everything's so light. Come closer to the camera with this. Oh man, I'm out of the sun. Let's see. Very clean. Clean welds. Took them down nice and smooth. Flange, where it's gonna meet up with the header, is really nice and smooth. Mounting bung mounting tab put on here, super clean. Yeah, I'm very excited. Let me bring a couple of the other pieces closer to the camera. Again, this is going to be the pipe coming out of the left side. Super clean. Really well done. Great workmanship, Luke. Great workmanship. Here's the heat shield. And that is the right side of the bike, the front cylinder pipe. Nicely done. Nicely done. And I don't know if you can see those in there. Oh man, I'm gonna try to move the camera to see if you can see the lollipops. The lollipop inside for the baffle. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. I'm trying to get it so the sunlight hits it, and so I can actually see what I'm trying to show you in there. But there is a small lollipop baffle in there to knock some of the noise down, because obviously this is pretty much a straight pipe. It's going to be super loud. And here, mounting hardware, mounting bracket for the left side. Again, very well machined, very well done. Really happy with that. Luke Wrye, Wrye Pipeworks, W-Y, excuse me, W-R-Y-E, Wrye Pipeworks. Luke Wrye. Get him on Facebook, Roadstar Clinic, Metric Cruisers and Baggers, those Facebook groups. Full custom pipe work. He's done the Yamaha V-Star 650 and 1100. These are actually the first duals with kickouts that he's done for a Roadstar, and I can't wait to get them mounted up. I'm going to try to get to that this afternoon, or excuse me, this evening. I won't be able to start it up for at least a little bit longer. There's no tank on the bike. There's nothing wired in the front of the bike. So I will video mounting them, and man, I can't wait to fire it up now. I got to kind of rush through and finish some other things just so I can fire it up, see how these things sound. Oh! So again, Luke Wrye, Wrye Pipeworks, custom duals with kickouts, short for, since this is a big wheel bagger and I've got my bags back there, they kick out pretty short. Hit him up, get some work done. So in my excitement unboxing and describing the pipes, I realized I said Christmas gift. It is not Christmas time. I mean, it's dead stuff out here because it's winter, shoulder season, going into spring. Spring is in the air, but it is in fact March 3rd, my birthday, not Christmas. I thought I'd get myself in the video without actually pointing the camera at myself. Hey. I decided I'm a little too excited to wait until later to try to do this exhaust. So I'm getting ready to take the side covers off just for ease instead of having them in the way when trying to slip the rear pipe through. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the side covers off both sides, shift the camera around. I guess I'll probably do the left side first, since that one's going to be the more involved. It's 2 pieces and a mounting bracket. I'll put everything in place that I think I'm going to need and get started here momentarily. Okay, what I've done is I've laid out everything I need for the left side pipe to go on. Got the spacers and whatnot I need. Obviously, 2 of these things are going to go to the other side of the bike, and then everything else is going to be on this side. What I'll do now is go ahead and set up on the other side quickly to show the header pipe coming through, and then I'll come back to the left side of the bike to put the rest of it on. So here we are on the right side of the bike. I've taken both of the side covers off. For anyone who's never taken your side covers off before, take your left side cover off first, because if you notice that tab right there, there is an 8mm bolt that goes through there and connects the right side cover to the frame via a bracket there. So take off your left side cover first, come around to the other side and take your right side cover off. Obviously the header pipe is visible there. So in order to get this pipe on, you have to go in at an angle like so, twist, and line it up. And get your flanges, get your flange on the studs. I have my header bolts here. Ooh. Normally I would just put some anti-seize on my bolts, but typically they come all the way through. I would put anti-seize on them and put a little bit of gasket maker on the outside, and what that does is keeps them from backing off. But the header bolts that we have are threaded with the Allen head there. So I'm just going to go ahead and loosely place that on there. I will probably go back and Loctite this stuff all later. So I'm just going to put these on a couple of threads just so they hold. So it's just kind of loosely mounted in there. And now I'm going to go back around to the other side. And you see that it's coming through. It's a pretty snug fit in there. There is a casting tab down there on the motor. So you want to make sure it's not sitting on that. You want to make sure it's not sitting up against the engine. So that's why it's just kind of loosely mounted in there for now until I get the other parts together. I am going to stop recording for a moment, reset the camera, and then start again. Okay, now we're back on the left side of the bike. And on this side of the bike, we're going to put our mounting bracket on. Mounting bracket is a nice solid piece. It's going to mount right here at the stock bolt, or using the stock bolts here on the back. I've already gone ahead and loosened those up. Now I just need to find the correct Allen. I'll go ahead and take these off. We're going to keep using these same bolts, but what Luke provides is a couple of stainless spacers in here. So the first spacers are going to go back here just to help clear the back here, the cover here. And then the second one goes on the outside just to keep from marring up the face of the spacer. So I'll go ahead and put that on. And I will likely go back and Loctite all of these as well. Other spacer, front and rear. All right. And like I said, I will likely go back and Loctite all this afterwards. So everything I'm doing right now is temporary. I'd mock everything up first every time before I go through and permanently install anything. So that's in. And at the bottom, there will be a bolt that goes into the back of the exhaust to the bung. So as you saw in the unboxing, make sure my gloves aren't too dirty. This is the pipe for the left side. So this slip joint will go into the pipe up here. There's a mounting tab on the side that will go in the side here to keep those locked in place. And there is a bung here. So when I put this on, I have to get this lined up in as much as I can, and then also get it lined up with the bung at the bottom. So this is going to be the most difficult part of the process. Let me turn the camera here, see if I can get it down, facing down a little lower here. Making sure that this is all lined up and that the bung in the back is lined up. So like with everything I do, I keep the bloopers in. So this may be a longer video than it needs to be as I go through and try to get this all lined up. But we will see. I'm going to do my best to try to do it on the first shot. Again, this is a slip joint, so I will just kind of wiggle this in with the room that I have. Get it lined up with the mounting hole here and with my bung at the bottom. And I tell you what, that's pretty darn close. Let's see if I got it. Okay, that is an Allen head screw, so that is in there. I'll have to go back and tighten that up. And if you look here, there's my mounting tab. Focus, ooh, focus. There's my mounting tab there, and I do have bolt and washer that's going to go through that, which I'll put in momentarily. And I will go to the other side and tighten it up and make sure that it's not sitting on anything, that everything is cleared from the other side. So I am going to get a couple of things out of the bag here, make a couple of minute adjustments, and then finish it up and come back. I've got the bolt at the bottom and the bung loosely threaded in. I've got this bolt that goes through the mounting tab loosely threaded. This one's kind of tricky because you have a bolt with a split washer, your mounting tab, a split washer, and a nut. And it's pretty tight to get in there, as you can see. So that was a little tricky, just making sure I could get in there. You notice that's not lined up completely straight. That's why it's loose. I got to kind of play with it to make sure that everything is clearing. It's not touching the motor. It's not touching that casting tab that's underneath right here. Worst case scenario, I might have to grind a little bit of that casting tab off. That would not be a big deal. And once I tighten it up on the other side, then I'll get my clearances a little bit better. But that's everything loosely mounted on this side. Again, we'll go back to the right side of the bike and get a feel for how everything looks. See, it's pretty good down there. It's touching that tab a little bit right now, but that's because it's not fully threaded in. So I am going to do some fine tuning and tighten it up. And if it turns out I do need to go through and grind the corner off of that casting tab right there, which I might have to do, I'll let you know and show you how I do that. So I snugged the bolts down. And this is a test fit, so I'll go through and put some type of, I'll probably put anti-seize on there. I don't really usually put Loctite on header bolts, but I'll look and see which one's going to be the best one to put on there. I usually put anti-seize on there, we'll see. But as you can see down there now, there is clearance past that mounting tab. It is not touching. It really just doesn't want to focus there, does it? There we go. And I seem to be clear at all points around the motor. I don't think I'm touching the motor at any point. We'll see at the very inside by the fins. If it was going to touch, it'd be touching there. And it looks like I've got, oh, just a hair. Actually, it might be touching just a bit. So I might have to go through and fine tune just a little bit right there. And then come back out. And once I do that, I can tighten up this bolt and tighten up the bolt at the bung at the bottom. And this side will be done. When I go to do the right side of the bike, I'm actually going to have to take my lower fairing off there, because even if I didn't have to adjust its position, there's no way I'm going to be able to get the header on with that fairing in place. So I think I'm going to have to readjust that, because I think the fairings are going to hit the exhaust anyway. So I may have to adjust how that's mounted at the bottom, but we'll see that shortly. Okay, I went through and did some fine tuning, got it a little bit better. There's still, it's super close to the point where it's not touching. I could probably run a piece of paper through there, but visually it looks like it's touching. What I may do is go in there with a Dremel and just take that fin down just a hair. Since it's bolted to the motor, any vibration is going to move that as a unit. So it's not like it's going to be rubbing against it while it's vibrating or moving on its own. But I think I will just take a Dremel in there and just take that fin down just a hair to give it maybe a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch clearance there. But that is the left side done. I am now going to put the heat shield on there. That's pretty simple. I don't think I need to video that. You have band clamps to go around there. It goes right here. It'll match up perfectly. As you can see, it's flared a bit here. So once the heat shield is on there, it will just blend right in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that part now. So there we are with the heat shield mounted. So it blends in really nicely on the outside. If you look around the back, you'll see the band clamps on the back side, but from the side and from the front, blends in really nicely. All right, I do have to tighten up that nut and bolt there. And again, this is all just a mock-up because this will all come off, and I'll redo it again before I do the first start, especially since I have to wire and put the tank and whatnot back on. And like I said, for the other side, I'm going to need to remove that lower fairing first. But remember, as soon as you finish this is stainless. Make sure you clean this all down with alcohol or something else that's going to get any of your fingerprints, oils, or anything else off of there. Because as soon as that pipe heats up the first time, it's going to scorch on any residue that's left there. Back over here on the right side of the bike, as you can see, I've taken the lower fairing off. All this stuff is disconnected because there's going to be a different master cylinder. All that's going to change. So I'm now going to mount up the right side pipe, line it up on the header, come down along the side, weave it down through here, and it will go back and mount to the furthest back mounting hole there using the supplied spacer and bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the camera so that I can film this and try to do it in such a way that I am not completely blocking or occluding the entire setup process. All right, stand by. In order to make this work, I'm going to have to move the camera at some point in time. So because of the the floorboard still being here, I have to weave the pipe up and through this space. So I'm just going to take it down through the bottom. Probably come over the top as well, but either way. So I'm bringing this up. I'm just going to set the flange on the connectors and reach across here and grab my bolts, since I left them on the other side of the bike because I'm brilliant. And I'm just going to loosely put these on. Come on, thread on there. I took my Dremel with a little wire wheel and knocked some of the rust and whatnot off of these flange bolts, but I didn't get inside of the I knocked rust off the studs, but I didn't get inside of the nuts to knock that rust out of there, so that's why it's making all that noise. All right, so now I'm gonna move this and attempt to have this visible. So in the kit, you'll get a spacer, and you're gonna get a bolt, and the spacer goes right in the face like this. And there's two ways to do this. You can kind of loosely put this in here before you set it up on the header in front. I put it on the header first and threading this through second, and maybe that's why I should have put it on the header first, on this first, because I'm not lined up perfectly at the moment. So what I'm going to do is come back up here, loosen these back up, now I'll come back here, and this should line up fine now. Come on. You, spacer, go inside. You, bung, line up. Oh, I'm a hair off. Okay, well, let's see. Okay, so what I had to do to get the right side pipe on, because there's a little flex in the pipe, and between whether it's cold or hot, it's going to be in a different position. I temporarily mounted the bolt in the back, so it's threaded in maybe 3 or 4 threads. And when I came up to the front, I went ahead and got the flange just on the very tips of the studs, and it feels like the pipe is maybe 3/16 of an inch too big. So what you have to do is just give a little push, and then it'll slide into the exhaust port on the head. But as you can see, now it's on, and what I'll do is I'll tighten the flange nuts down, and it'll pull it nice and snug in there. Let's see if I can get a look inside there. Obviously, you can only see so much, but you see that it's actually in the port. Whoop. It's in the port in there. And then as I tighten down the nuts on the studs, it will pull it all the way in. Looks all right. Finished product. Looking good, man. Still gotta take it all off. Loctite everything up. Clean it all off, and then get all this stuff taken care of before I can do my first start. But so far, very happy. Very happy with the look of this. And I feel privileged that mine was the first set he made. It's probably going to look a lot better when I put the side covers back on too, but I just wanted to go ahead and finish up this video. All right. Got the headlight off. It came with a standard bulb and high beam bulb headlight in there, and I'm going to go with LED. So I picked this one up, 5 3/4, I think is what it is, LED light with the projector beams in there. And so I'm getting ready to go ahead and swap that over. Not only is it going to change the look of the headlight itself, it's going to make it a hell of a lot brighter. It'll be different because it's got the black ring around there. So what that's going to do is create that black ring inside the shell here, but I don't think it'll be too bad. It's not going to match the driving lights, but because of the shape of the driving lights, I'm not going to be able to get LEDs that match that because they're flat on the top. But I think the overall look will still be okay. All it requires me to do is take out the 4 mounting screws in the back with the little tabs, put that one in, and replace. I've got the LED light mounted in the housing now. It looks pretty good. Necessity is the mother of invention. So the tabs that mounted the old light in here were part of the light fixture itself and not of the housing. So what I found were some brackets I had in here to actually mount vertical blinds or roll-up blinds for the windows in the garage. And I had to do 1 extra bend and then cut off the excess where the blind would actually mount to it, the pins, and we're good to go. It's nice and tight and snug, and it is not going anywhere. So I'll go ahead and put the rear of the shell back on and mount it back up on the bike. Okay, got the headlight back on. Looks pretty good on there. I've got to do some tweaking of the mounts. They're just a touch uneven on one side, but you know, that's just me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap the wiring in this weave. You can see that even though the wiring is black, the weave hides it quite a bit because this is going to come up and through. And what I would prefer is that I just don't have these big black wires or the covers completely visible. So I will put these on here and tie them to the rail, and hopefully they will be a bit less visible, and clean that up a bit, and then run everything to the back of the housing, of course. So I'm doing like 3 things at a time here, and I talked to Sam Ellis just a few minutes ago on chat and realized that I've messed a couple of things up as far as getting stuff shipped and keeping the wrong parts and things like that. But you know what? That's what happens. You live and learn. Ha! Keeping it pushing.